I suppose the most frightening thing was to do the very thing that I felt called to do, which is to stop being serious and be playful from the inside out. There is a way out, though. That's my biggest message. Can find a way to be in joy, even doing what you're doing.
Welcome to Women We Should Know with international speaker, mindset reset mentor, author, and your host, Leslie Michaels. With audacious honesty and candor, the Women We Should Know podcast presents the wisdom and life-empowering insights of women who are the embodiments of innovation and social evolution. Please join Leslie as she shares potent conversations that will inspire your personal and professional evolutions.
Hello, and welcome back to Women We Should Know. Favorite part of my day, and as it happens, we're recording this on a Monday. What a great way to start the week. Having the opportunity to speak with you and to speak with women who are bringing audacious changes and upliftments to the world, really helping other women to reach into their greater potential, reach into their greater audacity, bringing women out in all their beautiful colors. And do we have a beautiful, colorful, audacious woman for you today? Alaya Chadwick. Let's just say she has a PhD and multiple other degrees. She's been busy. She's an international mentor, teacher, and author, and founder of the Whole Point Institute. Alaya incorporates weaving wisdoms gained from over 40 years experience guiding couples and individuals in freeing themselves from self-imposed boundaries. We often don't realize that they are self-imposed, and this is exactly what she does. She combines a double master's in the fields of psychology and spirituality with playful invitations to awaken what is unique and potent. And that's what we're all about here. Crafted within the context of storytelling and using the analogy of falling into our life holes. Alaya bypasses the inner places of fear and rigidity and points the way home to our own empowered wholeness. She has a profound devotion to making accessible a global process for reclaiming the power of our authentic play and birthing our visions beyond our wildest imaginations. Now, I will tell you, I am one of the many, many women who grew to adulthood never knowing what play meant, foreign concept. So this is fun. She has trained women in implanting this process, which is currently being accessed throughout the realms of the Fortune 500 and 250 senior management. So not only is she bringing it to individual women, to couples, she's bringing it to our business sector. And it will be exciting to see how that trickles down as we move forward in the next few years. So please let me introduce you to Alaya Chadwick. Hi, Alaya.
Hi, Leslie.
How are you?
I'm fantastic.
Oh, good. Well, in all your colorfulness, I just love that. So we're going to start with my favorite introductory question. What is not in your bio that you would enjoy people knowing about you?
Besides, I love blueberries and often have them every day. I absolutely love working outside in a forest, which is what I live on, 65 acres of land. And I wear an orange flight suit in order to be visible to hunters and anyone walking in the woods, but also so I don't have to keep washing my clothes all the time.
And very practical.
Isn't it very practical?
Yes.
Yep. And it's a time where I go into three-dimensional play because I'm creating paths. So I'm looking at a big forest and I go, I think we'll make a path this way. And so all the paths on this property have been created, the Gate of Grace, the Labyrinth, the paths, the medicine circle, I created them all from my insides out.
Oh, that is beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. Love the flight suit.
Isn't that great?
That's great. You have been on one heck of a journey
True.
from being an League educator to working with couples to working with individuals, and now developing this platform of connecting people with their inner playful spirit that is so impactful that even the fortune world is taking it on. What frightened you most about taking the journey to come to who you are at this time?
I suppose the most frightening thing was to do the very thing that I felt called to do, which is to stop being serious and be playful from the inside out. But you know, the world, as I grew up in it anyway, I believe it's true for most people, is very serious. You have to be serious about your accomplishments, and you have to be serious, and you have to effort, etc. Well, I grew up in a matrix, a matriarchal matrix, until I was about 11 and a half. And then life got very serious, very.
Mhm.
And I lived in fear and despair for probably the next 20 years. I was extraordinarily serious, and I got very good at getting degrees, et cetera, et cetera. The most scary thing of all was just after 9/11, when I said I was going to teach this new method and means to a group of people for the first time. And there was a hole in the world, and I had the, I don't know, I'll use your word, audacity to think I was going to say something about holes being useful. I was terrified. That was the hardest step. I almost didn't do it.
Well, but you did.
I did.
There are so many things, and I am sure that many of our listeners can relate to this. So many things that we almost didn't do. And what matters is that we did. So congratulations and bravo. And certainly Ivy League education is serious. All the degrees are serious. And Lord knows the world of Fortune 500 and 250 is serious. So I think this is applaudable that you are bringing this new spirit into play and giving them an opportunity to play. In that moment of, I may not do this, but I feel like I have to do this.
Yeah.
What was the significant belief you had to give up to move forward?
I had to give up caring what other people thought.
Bravo. If ever there was something that every woman I've ever met, probably men too, but every woman I've ever met could benefit from surrendering, it's caring what other people think. How'd you do that?
Well, I use toys when I teach, and also when I, even in conversation with people. So let me say this as a way to answer that question. It is my conviction that inside the heart of every woman and every man, there's a diamond essence. I brought my diamond essence.
Oh, good.
And we're all born with this. And
Mhm.
when life gets serious, the diamond doesn't change, but it gets covered up, it gets forgotten. But along with the diamond essence, we're all born with a seed of doubt.
Mhm.
If we water the seed of doubt, if we focus on that seed of doubt, we won't take the step. So what we're choosing is what we're focusing on. I had to decide in me, and it was in like a flash of a moment, because I was ready to cancel it. I was not going to do it. 9/11 happened. We'd all been weeping and crying. The song, There's a Hole in the World Tonight, had happened. How am I ever going to stand here and say, we go into our holes to find our wholeness, to live a holy life? How could I possibly stand there and say that to some clinicians?
Mm-hmm.
I had to choose. Was I going to follow my diamond essence, or was I going to water the seed of doubt? It was
Mhm.
agony, Leslie. That was the hardest step I ever did.
And
now,
what was that crucible moment when you knew no matter how hard it was, you had to do it? No matter what they said, you had to do it.
if I hadn't done it, I would have been betraying myself. That's where I came to. It would be a self-betrayal to not bring forward the simplicity of this, which ironically, what I really love about it is that you can be very serious as you're learning it. Say to people, you have to suddenly play. We take it very seriously at first. And in the middle of it, there's a playfulness that starts to happen inside of them.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So where did the transition happen? Obviously, you had this very serious life for a long time. And then you moved into play, which has to be an instinctive thing, I would imagine. Is it not?
Well, for me, I had forgotten how to play.
Uh-huh.
My life had felt like it was on the line. It was on the line all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And in an odd kind of way, because I was so serious, I was showing myself this MAP method means from the inside out. So it started serious.
Mm-hmm.
There was a moment when John and I were moving from Pennsylvania to New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to him, I'm going to go to New Hampshire and discover New Hampshire in a week. That's a silly thing to say. It was actually a silly thing to say. And on the last day of the last time, I had found nothing I wanted to move to. And this real estate lady and I really had not bonded during this process. And I asked her to stop and go into another real estate agent. Already that was breaking another rule. And I heard myself say to them, is there any land here? I'm listening to myself, but that was not the plan. And they say, on your way back to the hotel, you'll drive right past it. Fast forward, we get to the bottom of this very steep hill. It's not even a driveway. I told the lady to stay in the car, I would go up. And I walked up the hill like a blank canvas. And I got to the top and there was this open area. I don't have any idea why. And all of a sudden it was like a bucket of honey just tipped over. And there was this heat tingling all the way down my whole body. I didn't walk anywhere on the land. There were no trails.
You hadn't been there to build them yet.
Right. I didn't even know. So
you probably didn't even have a flight suit yet.
I had no flight suit. I had absolutely no flight. I was wearing LL Bean. That's what you're supposed to wear, I thought.
Oh, okay. Well, see, being very serious and doing what you're supposed to do.
I called John when we got back. I was sobbing in the car with this real estate lady who didn't really know what to do with me. And I called him and I said, John, I'm leaving a message. You probably should get a drink. And I waited a really, really, really long time. And then I said, I think I just bought 65 acres of land. And then I hung up. The amazing thing.
What else can you do?
What else could I do? There was nothing more to say. And I just cried. It was like I came home from the inside out, but the story sounds like it was from the outside in.
Mm-hmm. You've done this big shift. You went out and you bought your LL Bean and you wore your proper clothes to New Hampshire, which is hilarious.
Very serious. It's serious, you know.
It's serious. And you found the realtor person who maybe wasn't quite as serious about it as you. And now all of a sudden you've turned the whole world upside down, or at least you and John's world upside down,
Yep. And then
by
fast,
buying 65 acres of land that doesn't even have a trail or a flight suit yet.
no flight suit, no trailer. And then I said, I guess we're going to learn how to build a house. I never built a house before.
Well, it's something you could be very serious about.
I started out very serious. So John got a builder who he loved to build. That was my rule. Nobody worked on our house, the land, or anything if they don't love what they do. That was my rule. And we measured my hands from here to here. And he had this builder and I'm still in Pennsylvania. And I spent hours describing the layout of the house. And he translated my body measurements into a building. I have no idea of how he did that.
And when you say building, let's pull that in. You went to New Hampshire to buy a home for you and your husband to do whatever you did in that home. And now you have 65 acres and you're not building a home, you're building a building. You're building an institute.
I know. There had to be a teaching room. There had to be a meditation room. We needed to have extra entrances in and out. I needed a little room for the one-on-ones. We needed a bigger room for groups, and we needed to cut it off so we could have a living area.
Yes.
So all that happened from 90.
And then you have upstairs with bedrooms.
Bedrooms, and then the next floor. So now at this point, 22 years later, we have multiple rooms that can serve multiple purposes. And then of course, COVID happened.
Right.
So now John and I are here in this big building. I'm in this little studio room. It looks like I'm in a little room, but it's a big group room with all these lights on me. And I've been playing out on the land and working virtually. Even groups, Leslie, the groups also have been virtual with Zoom. So,
and I'm guessing that you anticipate filling that building back up with people at some point.
That will happen. And I've discovered that virtual is not such a terrible thing.
No, I love it.
I love virtual. I can reach around the globe. So this last master class, we had to go from live to virtual midstream.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, midstream. And it taught me 1,000 different things. But the biggest thing was, don't make that change if you can't laugh first.
Mm. Oh, yes. You could have made yourself crazy with that. And poor John.
And poor John. The irony is he's an aerosol chemist and consultant and really in a completely different field than I am.
Yes. A serious field.
A very serious field.
Yes, a very serious field. So now as you are taking this into, well, previously uncharted territory for the recipients, you know, the Fortune 500 and 250 world, they're accustomed to, well, even if not completely serious, a rather particular type of presentation, let's say. What is the response been, and what are you seeing in terms of change in the individuals, the culture that they are generating within their particular company or industry? How is this having impact?
The first group of executive coaches really are extraordinary. And so I taught them over the course of 1.5 years, which was very intense for them because they're serious at first.
Of course.
Of course. And to believe that there's such a thing as the no rule rules, to believe that curiosity without judgment can take you someplace. They ripened amazing. So now what's happened, they graduated and now they are reaching kind of tentacles out into that arena that they play in all the time. And the feedback that I'm hearing are things like, somebody said to me, these are texts, somebody said to me, gosh, I never thought discovering my capacities could be so fun. Or I've never laughed so hard as I learned about the hardest things about myself.
Now that right there is
That's
potent.
amazing. That's
That's
amazing.
potent, because as you and I, and I'm sure everyone in the audience knows, learning about ourselves, we can make it grueling.
We can make it grueling. And the other part that just, this is what touches my heart about this work, is that even when we look, most of the time we don't get to validate ourselves, that we created the limitations, doing the very best we could with what we know and understand. So there is a judgment that people that I work with before the Wisdom Way would, like, they'd call me up and I'd say, so how come you want to talk to me? And they'd say, well, I can tell you I'm an adult child of whatever it is.
Right.
Get very serious. I'd say, well, that's interesting, but that has nothing to do with the work we're going to do now. So
Right.
immediately to ask people to back up and recognize they're creators, even of things that have limited them. So now what I'm hearing is about managers that are wanting to somehow craft a way that the managers, the individual managers underneath, each could learn this and then come together and share from a vulnerable, self-validating place.
Having individuals in very serious careers, in very serious positions at very serious companies, come into that space of connecting with more of themselves can only serve the efforts to bring equality and equity into the workplace, into the highest realms of the workplace. And then hopefully we will be able to see that trickle down.
I hope so too, Les, because one of the other things I've realized is that I was in AT&T long lines for a whole year. I was in this realm and I was, quote unquote, successful in that year. And on the day of the big success, the customer bought the thing I sold and all that, and everybody's happy. I felt sick and empty. And that's when I left that and went back to school and followed this whole other crazy path that I went on. But I had a taste of the pressure and you've got to keep going. Like there's no way out.
Right.
There is a way out, though. That's my biggest message. There is a way out. You can find a way to be in joy, even doing what you're doing, if you come at it from the inside out.
Exactly. And I am sure that it helps not only you understand the people you're working with, but gives you a level of credibility with them that you did do the corporate dance for 1 year.
I did.
Yes, it was only 1 year, but it was a very high pressure year. You accomplished a lot and then you moved on.
Well, it's better. And the day I was wildly successful is the day I wrote my resignation.
That's brilliant.
Successful in two different ways.
Yes, absolutely. As you continue to help people understand their seed of doubt, understand and connect with the part of themselves that can carry through that seed of doubt, because it's never going to cease to exist. It's just going to be there. What is your greatest vision for what you are bringing, the specific program you have developed in terms of national, international, just in the business realms, in the private sector? What is your vision?
Well, I'm a storyteller, so I'm going to tell you a short story as an
Please
answer.
do.
So during all the time I was in Pennsylvania, one of the things I did was also take training with Sandra Ingerman, Michael Harner in shamanic journeying.
Mhm.
And one of the journeys that I went on showed me something that I completely forgot about, but it's never quite far from my awareness. And so this
Mhm.
is my vision, which was also related to that journey. And it comes from a game. Almost all of us have played hide and seek. And every single one of us, in some way or another, whether it's the chimney sweep that I've been teaching for years, he's now teaching other chimney sweeps from a place from the inside out, or is the corporate leader, it doesn't matter. We've been hiding from the vitality of us. The world needs this. So at the end of the game of hide and seek, what we do is we go, ollie, ollie, income free.
Yes.
I want that cry to go around the globe to all the leaders, all the
Mhm.
country leaders, all the
Mhm.
individual families and parents and kids, all the income free, come home to yourself. There is a simple way to get there. That's my vision.
Well, good for you for not visioning small.
I'm not thinking small. I am not thinking small on this.
And bravo for that. That is amazing. Now, what I'd like to do is touch on the inside out aspect, because I can just feel audience members saying, I'm not quite sure I know what she's talking about. From the inside out. Could you elaborate on that?
Well, that's like asking somebody if they love ice cream and that's their favorite food. Of course,
Okay.
I'd be glad to.
Okay, good.
So going back to the diamond essence,
Right.
the diamond essence we each have inside of us is like our most juiciest, joyous thing.
Mm-hmm.
If we reference what we bring out to the world from that place inside of us, is living from the inside out. So
Aha.
if you as a woman look around your life, I do this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And if I see a woman doing something, they just think is like, anybody can do this. Anybody can do that. But I look and I go, well, I know I'm not going to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
What I want to do as a woman is I want to celebrate and name for that other woman. They're living from that diamond essence from the inside out.
You're going to straighten her crown while no one's looking.
There you go. I am.
Yes.
And I'm going to lift her up, not just with her, but anyone I know that might be interested in what she is doing. So there's a celebration of one another as empowering witnesses. I believe that's part of what all of us are meant to do for others.
Absolutely.
If I said to you, any of you listening, everybody has a skeleton. We have a leg bone, an arm bone, a head bone, all that. But we all look entirely different. If I can show you the skeleton and then we can look at how you're fleshing yourself out, then you can find your juicy heart. Everyone has one.
I love that. All the education you've done, you know this. They have a chronic issue with self-depreciation.
Seed of doubt.
Yes. Yes. A chronic issue with self-depreciation. Well, yeah, that was okay, but she's doing such and such and so and so. The comparison, the self-depreciation. As you are interacting with women and working with women, particularly women who are in very serious and successful career positions, how do you help them very specifically? How do you help them move past those well-trained habits that women carry of comparison and self-depreciation?
So I'll tell you a global answer and a particular answer.
Wonderful.
The global answer is that I show them this map. And it's like saying, look, this is the skeleton of your psyche.
Mm-hmm.
And it's unique to every person,
Mm-hmm.
but it's the same story.
Right.
And now what we want to do is make it particular to you so you can show yourself where you're making a choice to push away part of yourself, because that's what everyone is doing. I
Right.
can see this, but not that part. As soon as you hear the word but, someone is watering their seed of doubt. They've chucked their diamond essence over there.
Okay. Now I'm going to stop you right there,
Yeah.
because I want to make sure the audience heard that. Every time you say the word but, you are watering your seed of doubt. Now, please go on, but I wanted to make sure that did not get lost.
I have spirit showers because it's a language thing that literally keeps us in our holes. I'm this, but not that. Can you hear the but?
Yes.
There's a but, you're pushing away that part. And unless we let all of our juiciness play, we're not going to play from the inside out.
Mm-hmm.
So then the next step, that's kind of a global, when the next step is to make it very particular. What part of you, what expression of you are you pushing away for all the good reasons that you gave yourself? Because we do it for very seriously good reasons.
Seriously good reasons.
Push it away. What is it? What's the risk? What's the terrifying thing to let that come home? When I was 8, my father chose to take his life. That's when things got really serious. Fast forward, using this MAP method means I showed myself something that I had no idea I was doing. I was 8. I realized, oh, I must not have been good enough. I know what. I'm going to get really good. It collided with Easter. In my family, we wore Easter hats, and Easter is all about raising the dead. So
Mhm.
in the magical thinking process, I'm going to be really good. I'll raise the dead. He'll come back and life will be fine.
Sure.
A minus, it didn't matter. It got very serious because it kept proving to me I wasn't raising the dead. Well, that's a very simple sounding story, but everybody has magical ways to explain how come that part they pushed away has to stay away. I had to push away play.
I really appreciate you explaining. We've all heard of magical thinking, and I really appreciate you explaining it in this tremendously clarifying manner. It was just the magical thinking of the 8-year-old that morphed into something that was reasonable for the adult self.
Beautiful. And all of that magical thinking, I call it meaning making, or M&Ms for short,
Mm-hmm.
run in our psyche underground like a virus,
Mm-hmm.
but we're not conscious of it.
Mm-hmm.
All I knew is every time I didn't get an A+, I was sobbing.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody helped me understand what was happening. When I understood that, fast forward, blah, 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 when I got that, all of a sudden I went, oh, I make so much sense to myself. Nothing's wrong with me. Nothing was wrong with me. I'd put together apples and oranges based on what I'd seen. How could I not want to do something to raise the dead? It didn't matter that free will and all of that. He wanted to be dead. He wanted to be dead. I wasn't in charge of that. Little kids have a sincere generosity, and it combines with the magical thinking.
Right. Right. So at the end of the day, as you are walking people through either becoming a facilitator of your work or experiencing it directly with you, what you are using play to do is to help them find the place where they make sense to themselves.
Oh, Leslie, I have spirit showers. That's exactly it.
Well, I'm just quoting you. You said it a minute ago.
When people make sense to themselves, there's a liberation that happens inside that cannot be grabbed a hold of seriously. It cannot be mantraed into your life. It
Mhm.
can't be dream boarded into your life. If you can't make sense of what's happening, you have no choice to step a different way.
Right. Exactly. So I have a request for you, Alaya.
Yes.
We're kind of running up on the end of our time. I would love to sit and visit longer, but we're running up on the end. Before we get to that end, can you give our audience one or two simple, practical things they can do every day to start themselves on the path toward making sense to themselves?
One song that I would have them play every couple of days is a song, If I Were Brave, by Jane Stanfield. If I were brave, I'd walk the razor's edge. Do what fools don't even dare to tread. So that's one. Here's a second
Now,
one.
why? Why would you have them do that?
Because when we sing, it bypasses that serious, linear language, A, B, C. When we sing, the vibration, the words, the message, it moves through us. So it doesn't have to be that song. It could be any song that touches them and they feel their juiciness alive in them.
Wonderful, wonderful. So there's a little piece of brain science for all of you out there from someone who's been very serious about learning it.
Now, here's the other thing. Everybody take your right hand and you put it on your heart. I do this 3, 4, 5, 20 times a day. And I give myself what I call a good for me. And it looks like this. Good for me, good for me, good for me. You do it 3 times. It takes 3 times to bypass all of your old brain and to touch your whole body. And if you put it right here, kind of touch your collarbone with one of your fingers, it activates all of your meridians and your nerve endings. But that's not the end of the exercise. You need to finish the sentence. So let's make it live. Good for me, good for me, good for me. I said yes to Leslie to do a podcast. So at the end of the good for me, you particularly make a statement of something you did that you had to stretch just a teeny bit to do. Good for me, good for me, good for me. I decided to wear a whole bunch of bright colors. It could be good for me. I made a dinner and I never cooked before. It doesn't matter what the end of the sentence is, as long as it's a deep truth to you.
Mhm.
There you go.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for explaining the physiology, the neurology and the physiology behind that, so that our audience can understand that, oh, that sounds cute. Oh, but this is based in science. So thank you. Those are wonderful, wonderful tips, Alaya. I have one last question for you.
Mhm.
I'm just curious to know, what was the last great insight you had? Now, not the one that you've already started to document or share with 20 people. Maybe you had it in the shower this morning. What was the last great insight you had that you would be willing to share?
The most important thing that I can do is to take a chance on me.
Wonderful. So let's all go out there and take a chance on us. Alaya, thank you so much. This has been fun. It's been educational. It's been informative. And I really appreciate you coming today.
Thank you so much, Leslie. And thank you to everyone else.
You're
Remember,
welcome.
say good for me's to yourself.
Yes. So I trust that every one of you out there got several nuggets, several pieces of gold that you can stick in your pocket and carry forward with you as you go through your days, as you have those moments of self-doubt, as you have those moments of not making sense to yourself. I know I have my fair share of them, maybe 2 or 3 people's, but to be able to take this forward and activate it in your life is a great blessing you can give to you. Thank you for coming and being with us again today. As is always the case, as I always do for you, I will put Alaya's contact information, her URL, anything else that she wants to provide in the program notes. And you know where to find those, lesliemichaels.com. Go to podcasts. It'll all be right there for you. Subscribe, like, and comment. If you comment for us here at the show, we'll get back with you. If you have a comment for Alaya, we will forward it to her so that she can speak with you directly. So be sure, subscribe, like, and comment. And as you go forward with your day, I just want to remind you, you are stronger and wiser than you know.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We hope you received inspiration for expanding your own social innovation and influence. Help us inspire others by sharing this episode and leaving your comments over at lesliemichaels.com/podcast. For more tips, insights, and support in creating a fully audacious, professional, and personal lifestyle you love, visit our Women We Should Know community on Facebook.